The atmosphere was tense as the alien queen stood in the grand chamber, her towering form draped in gleaming, metallic robes that shimmered under the soft light of 1,000 floating orbs. She was unlike anything humanity had ever encountered. Her skin was a deep shade of violet, her eyes glowing with a peculiar intensity, as if they held the knowledge of the universe itself. Queen Zandra, ruler of the Zorgon Empire, had come to Earth not for conquest, but for an experience, a lesson she was eager to learn. The humans had intrigued her for years, and it was time for her to indulge in their strange customs. The humans were not the typical subject of alien curiosity. While other species viewed them as fragile and weak, Zandra had studied them from afar and was fascinated by their resilience and adaptability. However, there was one particular aspect of human behavior that had caught her attention, something she couldn't fully understand. It wasn't their technology, their social systems, or their creativity that intrigued her the most. It was their ability to perform seemingly impossible feats in a wide range of situations. The more Zandra observed, the more she became fixated on one question: could humans really perform such feats in any position? Zandra had heard the rumors from her subjects. Earth was a planet where the humans, in their odd way, could seem to accomplish the unthinkable, be it in combat, in relationships, or even in the most intimate of moments. There was something about their tenacity, their willingness to adapt to any environment, that fascinated her. She had heard whispers about how they could function, thrive, and survive no matter the position they found themselves in. What did that really mean? Was it possible to truly understand their potential? The Queen needed to know, and she would not stop until she had all the answers. The human representative in front of her, a soldier named Jake, had been briefed on the Queen's intentions. His task was simple, but complicated: to show Queen Zandra firsthand just what humans were capable of. The Queen, ever so graceful, tilted her head slightly, her violet eyes locking onto his. "I have heard much about humans," she began, her voice low and almost hypnotic, "and how your species thrives in the most unique positions. I want to understand this. I want to experience it." Jake's heart raced as he tried to remain calm, standing at attention as he faced the Queen. His mind spun with the implications of her words. The aliens had studied humans for centuries, and yet she was asking him to demonstrate something so personal, so intimate. He had heard tales about alien curiosity, but this was on an entirely different level. Zandra wanted to see if the rumors were true, and she was not going to be satisfied until she did. "You wish to understand how we perform in any position?" Jake asked, his voice steady despite the tension in the air. "Yes," she replied, a small smile playing at the corner of her lips. "Humans can adapt, can they not? You find a way to succeed no matter where you are, no matter what position you find yourselves in. I want to know if it's true. Show me." Jake gulped, realizing the depth of her request. This was no ordinary diplomatic mission. It was a test. But could any human actually explain the true nature of human adaptability to an alien queen, especially in such intimate terms? There were no textbooks or manuals for something like this, but there was a chance he could show her, at least in part, what it meant to be human. Taking a deep breath, he stepped forward. "Well, Your Majesty," Jake began, his voice now laced with a mix of confidence and a touch of uncertainty. "Humans are known for being flexible in both body and mind. We adjust to situations in a way that's sometimes hard for other species to understand, and not just in everyday tasks, but even when the stakes are high." The Queen's eyes glinted with curiosity. "I see," she purred, moving closer. "So, you say humans can thrive in any circumstance, no matter how challenging or unconventional?" There was a slight tease in her tone now, as if she knew exactly what she was doing. Jake's mind raced. How could he explain it in a way that would satisfy the Queen? He realized that this was a unique opportunity, a chance to give her a glimpse into the human spirit, our willingness to adapt, to find solutions no matter what. "Well," Jake began, choosing his words carefully. "Take, for example, our relationships. Humans have this incredible ability to connect, to understand each other, even in unexpected positions. And I'm not just talking about physical positions, but emotional and psychological ones as well. We can adapt to each other's needs, even when things seem impossible." Zandra's interest deepened. She had always been a strategist, a ruler who understood power and control, but this was different. You're saying that in all situations you humans can perform, even when the position is not ideal. Jake smiled nervously, but there was no denying the truth in his words. Exactly, Your Majesty. Whether we're in the midst of danger or finding our way in new, unfamiliar circumstances, we always find a way. It's a part of who we are. The Queen seemed to consider this, her gaze lingering on him for a moment longer. There was a flicker of something in her eyes, perhaps admiration, or perhaps something else entirely. And do you, Jake, believe that you could demonstrate this adaptability, to show me that humans truly can thrive in any position, as you say? Jake stood tall, now fully understanding the challenge. He wasn't just being asked to explain human nature, he was being asked to embody it. I'll show you, Your Majesty. But it's not something I can explain with just words. Zandra stepped even closer, her presence overwhelming. Then show me, human. Prove to me that you can truly adapt and succeed, no matter where you are or what position you're in. Jake's heart was racing now. He had no idea where this would lead, but there was something thrilling in the air, a sense of adventure, of pushing boundaries. The Queen was testing him, but it wasn't just a test of physical capability. It was a test of what it meant to be human, to adapt, to survive, and yes, to thrive, no matter the position. It was a test he would never forget. As the tension in the room grew, Jake realized that he was now standing at the crossroads of something that could change everything. The alien queen, majestic and imposing, had challenged him not just to showcase human resilience, but to demonstrate the flexibility, both mental and physical, that humanity possessed. There was no turning back now. Zandra's eyes glimmered with an intensity that made Jake's pulse quicken. She was towering over him, her violet skin almost glowing in the low light, her expression unreadable but undeniably curious. You speak of adaptability, Jake, but can you show me how far that adaptability stretches? Can your human body perform when the stakes are high? Her voice was laced with something deeper now, a playful edge that sent a shiver down his spine. It was clear she wasn't just interested in the physical aspect, there was something else beneath the surface, a desire to understand the human condition in a way no one had ever asked before. Jake swallowed, trying to steady himself, trying to grasp at any semblance of calm in this whirlwind of emotions. He had always prided himself on his ability to think quickly, to adapt on the fly, but this situation was nothing like he had ever encountered. A queen from a distant planet was testing him not just with words, but with something far more intimate. He wasn't sure whether to be afraid or excited. You humans, you are known for your adaptability in difficult situations, Zandra continued, her voice softer now, almost coaxing. But tell me, Jake, how does it feel to perform when there is no script, no guide? When you are free to express yourself fully, to thrive in a position that is unfamiliar, strange even? She stepped closer, her presence enveloping him like a heavy mist, her body language commanding yet full of intrigue. How do humans thrive in the most unexpected of situations? Show me, Jake. Let me see if this is true. Jake's heart raced, his mind now a storm of conflicting thoughts. He could feel the weight of her gaze on him, the heat of her presence igniting something deep inside. He wasn't sure if he was more intrigued by the challenge or by the Queen's own unspoken curiosity. She wasn't just testing his physicality, she was probing the depths of human nature, pushing the boundaries of what it meant to be adaptable. And if he was going to prove her wrong, if he was going to show her that humanity was more than just raw strength and survival, he would have to give everything. His voice was hoarse when he spoke. Humans, we don't need instructions, we find our way, we can adapt no matter the position. We've learned that even the most difficult challenges can be conquered if we let go of the fear and just trust in ourselves. Zandra raised an eyebrow, as if she had heard this many times before. You say you don't need instructions, she mused. Then show me, Jake. Show me how a human can thrive, how they can perform. In any position. Her tone was both commanding and tempting, like a challenge and an invitation wrapped into one. Jake hesitated for only a moment before stepping forward, meeting her gaze head-on. He wasn't sure what he was about to do, but he knew one thing for certain: he had to prove that humanity was more than just a species that survived. It was a species that thrived in the face of the unknown, that could bend, twist, and adapt to any circumstance, no matter how complicated, how unexpected. The Queen's eyes sparkled with amusement as she watched him, her lips curling into a slight smirk. You look nervous, Jake, but isn't that part of what makes humans so fascinating? The ability to overcome your own doubts, to push through the fear and just perform. Jake's breath hitched. There was no turning back now. With a surge of confidence, he closed the gap between them, standing so close that he could feel the heat radiating from her body. The Queen seemed to sense his resolve and smiled, a knowing, almost seductive smile. "Show me then," she whispered. And so he did. Jake's movements were measured, but there was no denying the intensity with which he engaged with her challenge. There was no script, no blueprint for what he was about to do. He didn't have to think, his body knew what to do. It was the human way: adapt and perform, thrive in any position. The Queen's eyes widened slightly as she felt the force of his presence. Jake's energy was undeniable. There was a rawness to him, a grounded strength that could not be ignored. Her fingers brushed against his arm, sending an electric thrill up his spine. It was as if she, too, was beginning to understand the depth of what he was showing her. It was more than just adaptability, it was the human drive, the instinct to persevere, even when the odds seemed impossible. Zandra took a step back, her eyes scanning him with a newfound appreciation. "So it's true," then she murmured, almost to herself. "Humans can perform in any position, no matter the difficulty. No hesitation, no fear. You simply do." Jake's chest rose and fell with each breath, his body still tingling from the connection, from the way Zandra's presence had set his nerves alight. There was something about this alien queen, something fierce and untamed, that made him push further, made him want to show her just how adaptable humanity could be. "I told you," Jake said, his voice steady now. "We don't need instructions. We improvise, we learn, and we push ourselves to perform no matter the situation." His tone held a mixture of pride and confidence, but there was an edge to it now, a realization that this test was not just about physical strength, it was about understanding the core of what made humans different. Humans don't just survive. We thrive, even in the most unexpected positions. Zandra's gaze darkened with an intensity that was hard to read. She stepped closer again, this time her hand brushing lightly against his chest. "You've shown me, Jake. I now understand why your species is so intriguing. But I still have many questions. You have only scratched the surface." Her voice was a whisper, her breath warm against his ear. "Can you perform when it is most difficult? Can you adapt even when the position seems impossible?" Jake felt the challenge in her words, felt the pull of her curiosity, her need to understand humanity's true capabilities. "You have no idea, Your Majesty," he replied, his voice low, filled with both anticipation and a sense of daring. "There's so much more to us than you could ever imagine. And I'm just getting started." Zandra's smile widened, the flicker of something deeper, something primal dancing in her eyes. "Then show me, Jake. Show me what makes you human. No limits, no rules. Let's see how far you're willing to go." And with that, the game began anew. The Queen's challenge had only just begun.